Alright students, so we are going to continue with the remaining portion of acids, bases and salts, and we are going to consider certain compounds and their uses which are a part of this chapter. So the first thing is uses of hydrochloric acid. Okay, so it is used for cleaning iron sheets before plating or galvanization. See, iron is basically galvanized because we know that iron has a property of rusting. Okay, so it is galvanized and before galvanization we need to clean that iron. Galvanized means addition of zinc to iron. See, these railway tracks basically are subjected to extreme weather conditions, and they can be rusted, they can weaken, and if they do, then there will be a danger to the lives of people who are traveling by railways, and we have a huge population that uses railways every day, so we cannot afford to take that risk. Okay, so in order to do so, what happens is these beams and these railway tracks which are used in construction of bridges and all, they are basically galvanized iron. Galvanization means addition of zinc so that the iron is not getting rusted. So before the iron is galvanized, it is subjected to cleaning, and this cleaning is done by using hydrochloric acid. Okay, used in preparation of chlorides such as ammonium chloride. Now ammonium chloride has a use because it is used in dry cells. Okay, so ammonium chloride is prepared by HCl. Used in medicines and cosmetics. Okay, used in textile, dyeing and tanning. Textile industry uses it, coloring industry uses it, tanning. Used in making plastics like PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride, and we all know what is the use of plastics. Okay, so now we will come to the one of the very important compounds, that is washing soda. What is washing soda? Washing soda, first of all, understand anything concerned with soda will have sodium in it. Okay, so this is Na2CO3 into 10H2O. Washing soda contains 10 molecules of water, and hence it is also known as soda decahydrate. Soda decahydrate. Okay, if these 10 molecules of water are not present, then what will this be known as? Na2CO3, that is also known as anhydrous sodium carbonate, that is also known as anhydrous sodium carbonate, or it is also known as soda ash. Okay, the sodium carbonate which doesn't contain the 10 molecules of water is known as anhydrous. Anhydrous means dry sodium carbonate or soda ash. Now how do we prepare this? We basically will take a cold and concentrated solution. This is basically solution. Okay, solution of, so this is called brine, sodium chloride solution, cold and concentrated brine. Okay, brine means a concentrated solution of sodium chloride. This is cold and concentrated. We treat it with ammonia and we treat it with carbon dioxide. A cold and concentrated solution of sodium chloride in water is treated with ammonia and carbon dioxide to obtain sodium hydrogen carbonate. Okay, this is what we get along with ammonium chloride. Okay, so this sodium hydrogen carbonate, the sodium hydrogen carbonate that we are getting here, sodium hydrogen carbonate, I hardly have space here, so let us say ammonium chloride. This is ammonium chloride. This sodium hydrogen carbonate is sparingly soluble in water. It's hardly soluble in water. Okay, so this is almost sparingly, very less soluble in water. So what it is done is, it is precipitated out. Okay, this results in a precipitated. The precipitate is allowed to settle down. We separate it out, we dry it, and we wash it and we dry it basically, and after that we subject it to heat. So sodium hydrogen carbonate is basically heated now. So what do we get? We get Na2CO3 plus H2O plus CO2. Okay, CO2 gas is evolved. So this is forming sodium carbonate. This is sodium carbonate. As I said, this is, since this is anhydrous, this is also known as soda ash. Now this sodium carbonate is dissolved in water. This sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, is dissolved in water. Okay, dissolved in water, and then it is recrystallized. Basically, sodium carbonate or soda ash is dissolved in water and recrystallized. This is recrystallized to get Na2CO3 into 10H2O. Okay, so this is how we will obtain washing soda. Okay, so just reiterating the process, we have sodium carbonate having 10 molecules of water. Sodium carbonate having 10 molecules of water is known as washing soda. This is also known as soda decahydrate. I'm so sorry. This is decahydrate. Deca means 10. So sodium, this is basically called soda ash. I'm so sorry. Sodium decahydrate is this one. So this is called soda ash. Okay, this is called soda ash. So this is sodium decahydrate. It contains 10 molecules of water and hence it is also known as sodium decahydrate. This is anhydrous sodium carbonate, which is also known as soda ash. So how do we prepare this? We take a concentrated and cold solution of sodium chloride in water and treat it with ammonia and carbon dioxide. We get sodium hydrogen carbonate and ammonium chloride. This sodium hydrogen carbonate, when we heat it, we get sodium carbonate plus water plus carbon dioxide. This sodium carbonate is dissolved in water and recrystallized to get sodium carbonate, and this has 10 molecules of water in it. Okay, so sodium carbonate will have 10 molecules of water in it. So that is how washing soda is prepared. If we take the properties of washing soda, obviously since it's a base, see, carbonates and metal carbonates and oxides and hydroxides of metals are all bases. So this will turn blue, litmus, red. So sorry, this will turn red, litmus, blue. In aqueous solution, this will turn red, litmus, blue. This is going to turn red, litmus, blue. Okay, what else do we have? It is a transparent crystalline solid. This is basically a transparent crystalline solid. This is a transparent crystalline solid. It is transparent and it is crystalline as well. What else do we have? It is used see, basically sodium carbonate is only one of the few metal carbonates which is soluble in water. It is soluble in water. Not all metal carbonates are generally soluble in water. Sodium carbonate happens to be one of the few metal carbonates which is soluble in water. Okay, what do we have? So this has got detergent and cleansing properties. This has got, sodium carbonate has got detergent and cleansing properties. So what happens is it attacks grease and oil, okay, in cloths, grease and oil which is there in cloths, and it makes them soluble in water. It makes them soluble in water, and that's how the cleansing effect happens. Okay, so that's the reason it is also known as washing soda, because of its cleansing effect. It has got a strong cleansing effect. Okay, you can take a snapshot of the same, and we will move on to the next slide now. Okay, so we are going to study more compounds out here. So we have studied already what is washing soda. So washing soda is nothing but Na2CO3 into 10H2O. Okay, so washing soda is a strong cleansing agent. Cleansing agent means when we mix it with water, it can be used to clean the dirt and oil and grease in cloths, okay, which we cannot generally clean by using simple water. Okay, used for removing permanent hardness of water. Now what is water hardness? Water hardness is basically caused by the salts of calcium and magnesium which dissolve in water. See, most of the water that we are getting for domestic purposes is basically hard water, or you know, we call it as khara pani, okay, because the calcium and magnesium salts are present in the earth and they happen to get dissolved in water, and this causes permanent hardness. When water has got permanent hardness, even simple soaps will not be able to improve the cleansing agent, property of water. So we will need washing soda in that case, because it removes the permanent hardness of water as well. Okay, used in manufacturing of glass, soap and paper. Obviously soap we have understood, it is used in the manufacture of paper as well and glass as well. Used in manufacture of borax. Borax is basically a compound which has a lot of uses. One of it is antiseptic. If there is a wound, we can spread borax over it. It ensures that it is not attacked by microorganisms. Okay, now baking soda. What is baking soda? Okay, we have to be very clear what is baking soda, because Na2CO3, oh I'm so sorry, this is washing soda. Baking soda is nothing but NaHCO3. Okay, there is a difference between baking soda and baking powder. We will understand that difference. Okay, first of all, we need to understand how we prepare baking soda. So as we understood how we prepare sodium carbonate or washing soda, it's the same process. Okay, so we take a cold and concentrated solution of brine. Okay, so this is cold and concentrated solution, cold and concentrated brine, we can say. Concentrated solution of sodium chloride in water itself is known as brine. Okay, so this is cold and concentrated brine. We treat it with ammonia and carbon dioxide. So what do we get here? NaHCO3, okay, plus NH4Cl, ammonium chloride. This is a reaction which we have already studied in the previous slide. Okay, so this is sodium hydrogen carbonate and this is called baking powder. This is sodium hydrogen carbonate and this is also known as the baking powder. Baking powder. Sodium hydrogen carbonate also known as the baking powder. Now why do we use this? See, when we heat baking powder, what happens is Na2CO3 is formed plus H2O plus CO2. Okay, so it kind of splits up. So Na2CO3 is formed, 2NaHCO3, Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate is formed. Sodium carbonate is formed and carbon dioxide is evolved as a gas. Now this is the carbon dioxide that we need. Okay, carbon dioxide is used, see we have this dough. When we mix it with baking powder, okay, breads or cakes, okay, they increase in size. This will be a small lump which is there and that will increase in size. Why does it increase in size? Even if we look at a bread, you will find small holes in it, right? So they increase in size. The reason why they increase in size is because carbon dioxide is getting filled in these holes. The dough basically increases in volume. Okay, so carbon dioxide is the one which is getting involved. So here when we heat sodium carbonate, when we mix the baking this is basically sodium hydrogen carbonate. It is called baking soda. We'll understand what is baking powder. Okay, but for the time being, just understand that heating sodium carbonate evolves carbon dioxide, and that is what is used in making of cakes, in making of breads, buns, and in effervescent drinks as well. Okay, the Campa Cola or rather Thumbs Up or Pepsi, whatever are these aerated drinks that we consume, they are basically containing carbon dioxide. Where is this carbon dioxide coming from? It is coming from baking soda. Okay, now just to understand the properties and uses of baking soda. Okay, baking soda properties. So what is it? It is basically a white crystalline solid and is sparingly soluble in water. It's hardly soluble in water. Mild non-corrosive base. It is a mild non-corrosive base. It is not a very strong base. It is a mild non-corrosive base. Hence, it is used in food items. Okay, mild non-corrosive base in water and mildly alkaline. Not very strong alkaline. Okay, it is very mildly alkaline. What is the action of heat? We have already studied what is the action of heat. If we heat sodium carbonate, this is what happens. Okay, if we heat sodium carbonate, this is what happens. Okay, now we have to understand. So it is used as an antacid. Okay, what are the uses? So action of heat we have already understood. When we heat it, this is what is getting formed. Antacid, if this is a home remedy basically. Antacid, this is a home remedy. Home remedy means what? If somebody is suffering from acidity, okay, and if there is baking powder available at home, we can consume it by dissolving it in water and we can consume it. This is basically going to neutralize the excess of acid that is formed, and since it is a mild base, it is not going to have a very strong corrosive effect on the soft tissues of our stomach as well. Okay. Now baking powder is little different from baking soda. We have to understand this. Okay. It might be asked in simple MCQs that whether baking powder and baking soda are the same. No, they are not the same. Baking powder is prepared by mixing baking soda with a mild acid which should be edible as well. Okay, edible means which can be consumed as food. Mild and edible acids such as citrus acid, generally tartaric acid is used. tartaric acid or maybe citrus acid, okay, this is used. Citrus acid is used or tartaric acid is used, okay. So what happens is these two are mixed and then water is added and then the reaction happens. What happens is when we apply heat to this, the same thing will happen. NaSCO3, which is basically what? Sodium hydrogen carbonate. It will get the H plus ions from where? The acid, whichever acid we are using, tartaric acid or citrus acid, okay. So this is going to form Na2CO3 plus H2O plus CO2, okay. 1 minute here. So let's say we will write this as Na plus, okay. So these are basically sodium ions from sodium tartrate. See, what is the purpose of adding tartaric acid or a weak acid like citrus acid to sodium carbonate? See, we have seen what we need here is carbon dioxide for baking cakes or for baking breads and all, so which we are getting. But understand, when we heat sodium hydrogen carbonate or baking powder, we also get sodium carbonate as a byproduct, and sodium carbonate is basically bitter in taste. This is a little bitter in taste. So whatever food items we are preparing, this sodium carbonate will cause bitterness in that food item, okay. So in this case, what we need to do is we add some edible tartaric acid or maybe citrus acid. What it will do is it will neutralize the sodium carbonate which is formed, and sodium tartrate will be formed or sodium citrate will be formed, okay. Sodium tartrate or sodium citrate is forming because the tartaric acid or the citric acid is neutralizing the sodium, okay. This is neutralizing the sodium carbonate which is formed, and hence the bitter taste is gone, okay. So always remember, baking powder is different. Baking powder is made by mixing baking soda with a mild acid, with a mild and edible acid like tartaric acid or citrus acid, okay. So baking powder is different. Baking powder is pure sodium hydrogen carbonate. However, baking soda is pure sodium hydrogen carbonate. However, baking powder is a mixture of sodium hydrogen carbonate and citrus acid or tartaric acid. The purpose of this citrus or tartaric acid is to actually form sodium citrate or sodium tartrate. It neutralizes this so that this bitter taste of sodium carbonate from the edible food is gone, okay. So that is the purpose of adding it. So that's one thing which has a huge use, okay. So we make baking powder and we extensively use baking powder for a lot of purposes. Just remember that the reaction between baking powder or rather baking soda. So baking powder is made of baking soda and a mild acid like tartaric acid, or you can also use citrus acid, okay. So this is made by this. However, so you get it in the shops, right? But they are not yet, unless you add water to this, the reaction is not going to get completed. So it's only after you add water to it, then the reaction will happen. So what we do is we mix this baking powder with the dough. We mix it with water, we mix it with the dough, and we keep it in the oven or wherever you are roasting it. So it will increase in size. Why? Because obviously carbon dioxide is getting evolved, and the sodium carbonate which is formed as a byproduct and which can increase the bitterness of the edible food that we are trying to prepare, which can be bread or which can be cake, that is getting neutralized by this tartaric acid or citric acid, whatever you are using, okay. So that's how this has an extensive use in the food industry, of course, okay. So this was about the other use that we have. The other use that we need to understand in detail is use in fire extinguishers, okay. Use in fire extinguishers. How we use in fire extinguishers, that is something that we are going to learn right now, okay. So you can take a snapshot of the same. Alright, we are going to learn about more of compounds, but before that, as we have concluded in the previous slide about fire extinguisher, okay. So fire extinguisher, what is a fire extinguisher? Fire extinguisher is a substance which when sprayed over the burning substance, it extinguishes the fire. Okay, so we have all seen these fire extinguisher cylinders which are red in color. I'm sorry. So how, and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Okay, so baking soda is basically used here along with sulfuric acid. So they are not mixed. Okay, they are not mixed, they are mixed only when we need it. So here we have a boiling tube, okay, or rather an ignition tube basically, okay, and this is the bottle, is called the wash bottle. Okay, dilute sulfuric acid is, this is a thread which is actually suspending it. See, the reason why we have a thread out here is when we press the nozzle, this thread is pulled and this entire dilute sulfuric acid gets poured over on the sodium hydrogen carbonate solution. This gets poured over on the sodium hydrogen carbonate solution. So this is a tube basically. Okay, now what happens is, we all know that sodium hydrogen carbonate will react with sulfuric acid. Okay, this is sulfuric acid which is dilute form. This will react with dilute sulfuric acid to produce what? Sodium sulfate plus water plus carbon dioxide. So that is the difference. In case of bases, pure bases react with acids to form salt and water. However, bases which are carbonates or hydrogen carbonates will produce salt and water, along with it carbon dioxide will also be produced. So this is forming carbon dioxide. Okay, so now this carbon dioxide, this passes out through this nozzle and this processes out at a high pressure. Okay, so it is more or less a liquid. Okay, and whichever substance is burning, it just it forms a coating over it, a white coating over it. Okay, and carbon dioxide, we all know, is a non-supporter of burning. This is basically a non-supporter of burning. So carbon dioxide is a non-supporter of burning, and hence it gets sprayed over the burning substance and the burning substance extinguishes. It's a non-supporter of burning. So sodium hydrogen carbonate solution is placed here, and we have this ignition tube which is filled with dilute sulfuric acid. The moment we press the nozzle, this ignition tube is basically inverted and the entire acid gets spilled over the sodium hydrogen carbonate. Both of them will react, carbon dioxide will be produced under high pressure, and this releases off and this is spread over the burning material or substance, and this forms a coating. And carbon dioxide, when it forms a coating over that burning surface, it prevents the oxygen from reaching that burning surface, which basically will not allow the burning surface to burn anymore. Okay, so that's how it acts as a fire extinguisher. What is a bleaching powder? Okay, now what is bleaching powder? Bleaching powder is basically CaOCl2. Now before we understand, bleaching powder is very extensively used. Bleaching powder is used as a bleaching agent as well as a disinfectant. Okay, as well as a disinfectant. Okay, bleaching agent means what? An agent which can basically decolorize clothes or whatever. Okay, and make the substances colorless. So this is basically used in the textile industry, because the textile industry will need the the agent which decolorize and makes the substances colorless. So in textile industry, if we need to decolorize the cloth, we use bleaching powder. Okay, as a disinfectant. Okay, disinfectant basically is a substance which kills germs or bacteria, Okay, so bleaching powder is used both as a bleaching agent, that is to decolorize, and is also used as a disinfectant, because chlorine is released here, and chlorine is a strong disinfectant. Okay, how do we prepare a bleaching powder? By passing chlorine gas over dry slaked lime, which is basically calcium hydroxide. Okay, so this is calcium hydroxide, and this is slaked lime basically, and we are passing chlorine gas over it, which will give you CaOCl2 plus H2O. Okay. Now what are the uses? So obviously we get this bleaching powder. This is called bleaching powder. This is bleaching powder. What are the uses of it? Okay. In bleaching cotton and linen in textile industry. So we have cotton and linen, and this is used in bleaching it, decolorizing it, so that we can color it again. Okay. For bleaching washed clothes in the laundry. Laundry is a place wherein basically we get the clothes washed. So for bleaching washed clothes in the laundry, okay, as a disinfectant in drinking water supply, as we have known that chlorine is having a very strong smell, which is more or less a disinfectant because microorganisms are not used to this smell. Okay. Manufacturing chloroform. Chloroform again is anesthetic. Okay. So it is used in manufacturing chloroform for making wool unshrinkable. Wool is basically something which shrinks. Okay. And it becomes very difficult to make woolen clothes out of it. So in order to make wool unshrinkable, we get wool from sheep basically, and they tend to get shrinked. But when we use bleaching powder, they are unshrinkable. And only then we can make clothes out of it. So these were certain examples of bleaching powder, okay, and their uses. We are going to cover plaster of Paris, and I suppose what else is left? Water of crystallization. Okay, so we are almost done with the chapter. You can take a snapshot of this.